Hi guys, today I wanted to talk about something that's been on my heart that I think that God's been just wanting me to share with you. Today I want to talk about mental illness. I just feel like lots of people struggle with it, and people tend to be ashamed of it. And so I myself struggle with it. I struggle with anxiety as well as bipolar. Which mine is more of the depressive bipolar as opposed to the manic bipolar. So what happens is I tend to get very, very depressed, and like it gets to a point where I have no motivation for life. I can't get out of bed. I can't do my job. Like it's like my body feels like there's a weight on it, and I cannot move and I cannot do anything, and I feel hopeless. And so it just gets, when I'm in those modes, it gets really hard to push myself to get up and do things and actually get things done that I need to get done. And then that makes me feel like more of a failure, and so then it just like it just kind of spirals and spirals and spirals. But the reason it's bipolar is because there's also modes where I'm like good and I'm doing good and everything's going great and I'm getting things done, and then it's like one thing will happen and all of a sudden it's just downhill. And so there are two main things that have really helped me to get through this. One of them is medication. Now, medication can be a touchy subject, I know, because for me especially in the beginning, I really did not want to take it because I felt like, one, it made me kind of an outcast. It just made me feel different, and I've also had struggles in the past with different medications for different things, and my body doesn't react well a lot of times to medication. So it was kind of a struggle between, I want to make sure that my body's going to react well, and that I don't want to feel like an outcast, and I don't want to feel like I'm different, because then that would be me admitting that I have these problems and I need help with these problems, which is also a big thing as well. For a while, for a long time, it was fine. Like I could manage on my own, and I could get stuff done, and I could kind of just, I guess, work through it or whatever. Or at a certain time, it got to a point where I couldn't do it anymore. Like I would get such bad panic attacks that my whole body would start to tense up and my mind would start to race, and I would just go into fits of anger and just sadness, where it was like I didn't know if I was angry or sad, and it was like I wanted to punch something but cry at the same time, and it's like my body didn't know what was happening. And it got really, really hard because I couldn't calm myself down and I couldn't relax or anything. And so these fits would just last for 30 minutes to an hour, and it was like I couldn't function as a human being. And at that point, I was like, I can't do this anymore, because it had started to get so bad with the depression and the panic attacks and stuff that I had started to become suicidal. And I was like, if I don't find a way to manage this, I don't want to live anymore, because I don't want to live like this. And so I finally was like, you know what, I'm just going to try medication. I'm like, I really don't want to, but I feel like it's just the way to go. So I had seen a psychiatrist that was at the school I was going to at the time, and we kind of sat down, talked about everything that was going on. She kind of talked to me about stuff to kind of get my life together and kind of work through a lot of this, and then she also started me on some medications. Well, medications, I will say, are definitely a trial and error thing as well. So when you start medications, you want to have an open mind, and you want to go into it with the idea that the first one may not always work, that the first go around may not be the one. And so they started me off on Wellbutrin. Well, the problem with Wellbutrin is it is not good with people with anxiety, because what it did for me was, so one of the side effects of Wellbutrin is heart palpitations and things like that. And so what was happening was my mind was making my body think that that was happening. And so I would be okay, and then all of a sudden I would feel a flutter in my chest. Well, when that would happen, I would start to kind of freak out, and I would start to kind of be like, okay, what's happening? And then my body and my mind would just kind of shut down, and it was like I would start to freak out and I would start to hyperventilate, and it got to a point where I was like hyperventilating and I could not breathe at all. And if I like tried to move or tried to speak or anything, I would just break down crying, and it would make it even harder for me to calm down and start breathing. And it got to a point where it was so bad that I was almost having seizures because I was not breathing in those moments. And I actually had to go to the hospital once or twice, and they told me that it was because of the medication. And so I stopped the medication and I went back and I talked to the doctors about it, and they started me on something else. So they decided to put me on Prozac for my anxiety and Lamictal for my bipolar. And I will tell you, that's what I'm on right now, and it has changed so much. Now, do I think that it's an all cure miracle and I'm 100% better? No. But I am like 90% better than what I was. I can at least get through life for the most part if I'm taking it regularly and I'm taking care of myself and I'm doing what I need to. I can function like a normal human being, and it just feels so great to not have those moments where it's like I just don't want to be here anymore because I can't do what needs to get done. I just feel hopeless and all of that. And so it's helped tremendously. And I just want to say that it's okay to need it. It's okay to admit that you struggle and that you have these issues and that you need medication. It's okay. And, you know, if you're like me and your body doesn't react well to medications, you know, just talk to your doctor, let them know. And those are things that you can work through. There's ways that you can find out what's going to work well, what's not going to work well. And it's a trial and error because not everything's going to work. Sometimes the first one will work great. Sometimes it's going to take 5 or 6 different tries. But you have to go into it with an open mind. You have to go into it willing to try and to stay consistent. And then the second thing that has helped me tremendously with my things is my relationship with God, is diving in deep to, you know, my relationship with him, you know, praying on a daily basis, especially when I'm in those moments where it's like I feel hopeless or I feel like I'm struggling with my anxiety or my depression or anything like that. Just going to him and praying and taking that moment to just realize what's happening and give it to him has helped tremendously as well. You know, it kind of just gives me a peace of mind. It gives me, it kind of just clears my mind and gives me a fresh look at things. And, you know, surrounding myself with godly people, people who have the same ideas in mind, who have the same goals in mind, who I know are going to love me and not judge me for anything, and I guess genuinely want what's best for me, because a lot of times that can be hard, and a lot of times people, when you talk to them about your problems with mental illness, they take it as you're just making excuses, or they don't take you seriously, and or they just don't understand because they don't struggle with it. And so a lot of times what I found is people who have the similar, I guess, relationship with God, they have like this peace, and they may not fully understand, but they can at least sympathize or empathize with you and I guess help you work through that without that judgment. And it's the same with God. You know, I go to him with my problems. I talk to him about my problems, and I know right then and there that there's no judgment, that he wants to take those problems from me, that he wants to help me work through those, that, you know, he has a plan for me and everything's going to work out. And so it's just nice to have that. And so those are two things that have helped me tremendously in my journey with mental illness. And honestly, I'm still working on it. I mean, there's still stuff that I'm working on, and, you know, I still struggle. I mean, they're not miracle cures, but they definitely do help daily. And the thing with it is you have to just keep being persistent. You have to keep doing it and trying. You can't just do it once and expect everything to be great, because that's just not how it works. You have to be consistent. And so, yeah, I just wanted to share with you guys my struggles, not only for myself, because it's good just to be able to talk about it and share it and stuff, but also, you know, for other people, just in case somebody else needed to hear this or whatever, because like I said, it's something that God's been putting on my heart lately to, I guess, share, because it's always been something that I've been ashamed of, and I've been trying to get to a point where I can share it openly and be honest about my struggles, because I feel like that's important. It's important to be vulnerable and share your struggles, because we all go through them. And so, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about anything, please just feel free to let me know. And if you guys struggle with any of this stuff, please share it. I would love to hear about it, and if I can help you through a lot of it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know I enjoyed making it. And yeah, I will see you guys later.